Give us a sense of what's at stake for Surbana and other companies in Singapore, given that this election is coming on the back of possibly the deepest recession since independence.
Well, good morning, Haslinda, and to everybody out there. As you all know, this week is an eventful week for Singapore because the general election is really an extraordinary event from a couple of perspectives. I think, as you have mentioned, it's taking place during one of the biggest global crises for many of us in our lifetime. And voters will be confronted by issues from three standpoints. One, of course, is health. As you know, this is a big health crisis as it started. Secondly, economic. It's affected a lot of us. A lot of jobs have been lost. Economies have been shut down. And thirdly, societal. Questions going forward, what is this new normal of lifestyle are we going to live? And the uniqueness about COVID-19 is that it challenged all the leadership, whether it's at national level or a company level, and to manage this pandemic. As it started, it's a critical health crisis, but gradually becomes more economic, and now becomes a more global debt issue. So I think it will be quite interesting to see this week events in Singapore.
Mr. Wong, what policies would you like to see from the next government? Would you like to see continuity, or would you like to see perhaps new policies to help Singapore overcome what's been described by the Prime Minister as tumultuous future?
Well, I think the first thing that we need to do is to try and get businesses back into operation. For us in the built environment sector is really to get the construction activity going. And the workers back at safely at the work site and gear up the productivity level. So that to us is most important. Secondly, of course, is to take advantage of this COVID-19 to roll out some of the new technologies. As you know, a lot of us today are working from home. In our sectors, the embracing of digital technology, it's very important going forward. So incentive for companies to upgrade, their IT systems and train the relevant staff in terms of embracing digital technology is very crucial. And of course, thirdly, is really to encourage our businesses to transform itself, whether locally or internationally, and compete for businesses elsewhere as well.
Surbana Jurong is pretty much owned fully by Temasek, which is a state-owned investor. In the course of the pandemic, it was given contracts to convert many facilities for COVID-19 patients. Do you hope to perhaps tap that experience for similar projects in Singapore or elsewhere in the world?
Well, I think when the COVID-19 pandemic issues came up, we were activated, mainly because today we have within Surbana Jurong the whole spectrum of healthcare, both from designing of hospitals to supervising of contracts for hospital construction, including facility management of hospital facilities as well as security. So I would say, we were activated in the whole of Surbana Jurong to put up. And today, we have managed to put out about 55,000 beds throughout Singapore. Of course, the first 1,000 beds was created in the first 3 days. So, and we hope our knowledge of being activated at the last moment and being able to complete it in time and provide that safe and comfortable accommodation, for the COVID patients will help us going forward to branch more into the healthcare sector.
Of course, we've seen Surbana Jurong making quite a number of acquisitions amid this pandemic. What's the thinking behind it? What's the strategy? And is consolidation within the industry the way forward?
Well, I suppose a lot of people look at us the last 5 years, when we did a number of acquisitions as a spree. I must want to stress that, when we look at acquiring companies, it's not just for their financials, but it's more in terms of their talent base and how they can then add to our range of capabilities to deliver a better and a sustainable solutions for our client. And going forward, that would also be our focus, to look at how we can do a job better, cheaper, and more sustainable way.
Are you looking at more acquisitions in the next 12, 24 months? What would make sense for Surbana Jurong?
Well, Haslinda, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, and obviously we are looking at companies that can add the breadth and depth of scope to what we are doing. And our focus will really be in Asia Pacific and to see how we can participate in some of the regional programs to build up their infrastructure and also to help to urbanize the various cities and the regions. Yeah. So that will be our focus. And today, Surbana Jurong has about 16,500 talented employees, operating in 40 countries. And we are doing quite interesting projects, some of which are very iconic in nature.
Of course, you're also operating in China. What do you make of China's recovery? What indications are you getting from your partners there?
Well, in China is will remain as a key focus for us going forward. Not so much in terms of market, but also in terms of talent base. As you know, in China there are 1.6 million people, and every year they have 9 to 10 million of graduates being churned out. Tremendous amount of talent that we can leverage on, work with. To build our global capabilities in delivering the various sustainable solutions that we are looking at. And of course, the next phase for the development of China will be a bit more integrated, a bit more in-depth, and that's where we think we can play a major role together with our Chinese partners that we are working with over the last 5 years.
Staying with China, Mr. Wong, are you intending to take part in China's infrastructure spending plans? It's setting aside about $1.4 trillion over the next 6 years or so till 2025. What opportunities do you see?
Well, I think, in China, the expertise that we can bring is really in terms of the urbanization capabilities that we have demonstrated in Singapore. Like all the overseas market that we participate, whether it's China, Africa, we take our township capability, our capability to build up, very good industrial facilities where foreign investors will be looking at putting their plants, as well as some of the infrastructure works that we do in Australia, in India, where we do hydropower, railways and road projects.
One final question before we let you go, Mr. Wong. Easy question. How profitable do you expect to be in the next 2 to 3 years?
Well, I think for us, we are run as a commercial organization. So to us, we focus very much on the financial returns of the projects that we participate. And therefore, we intend to be above what our regional competitors would be doing.